Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Center for Practical Spirituality, where we get you calibrated, started, uplifted, and ready for the week. What can I tell you? So, today is, what's today? Today is 7/26/2026. So there are, numbers are always speaking to us. So make sure that you keep in touch with your numbers. Between now, it started yesterday, and the 8th, which is going to be the portal 8/8. See, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10 goes back to 1. So on 8/8, it's going to be on August the 8th. That is going to be the Lion's portal, the Lion Gate portal. So just look it up. And I just want to start off with that. Let's go ahead and get started today. And let's start with our statement of being. God is all, both visible and invisible. One presence, one mind, one power is all. This one that is all is perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance. I am ever one with this perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance. And so it is. And so it is. I'm going to say this. It's kind of like this past week, there were some ups, there were some downs, there were some, I'm talking about, have you guys noticed, we're already in the 7th month. And, this year was the fire horse. And I'm going to tell you, this whole entire year has been going like warp speed. So just remember that. It is exactly, that horse is trotting. If you blink, it's like, oh, what happened? That's exactly what's going on. But you know what? That's actually a good thing. Because then, right now, I'm going to say this. We have to understand that the shift has already occurred. The shift is already happening. The matriarchy is already coming in. And it is not patriarchy, and it is not hierarchy. It is matriarchy. Okay? And what that means is that the shift is occurring regardless if you like it or not. And I'm going to be very honest with you. The number one thing that's going to actually occur is that women are becoming the forefront, and they are going to take back their power that was erroneously taken away because of jealousy. Because of the fact that we can multitask. We can do things that others cannot. And that is something that a lot of people just get a little jealous of. And yes, I understand, it's kind of like, I understand. We do need the masculine. We all have both traits, the masculine and the feminine traits. And we need both. And we are going to be able to embrace both of those things within us, through us, and as us. We have to remember, God did not in any which way, form, or fashion have a religion. We, as human beings, that's what we created so that we could control others. So whenever I come up here, yes, I'm a quote-unquote spiritual leader. I'm not trying to control you. I am giving you information so that you can make a choice, which is your superpower. You have the power of choosing exactly left, right, upside down, inside out, whichever way you want to go. Once you choose, that's when you have actually put things into action. And, the source of all sources, life of all life, then conspires to make what you have desired, what you have chosen to come forth. If you don't like it, then change your thinking, change your life. ¿No te gusta? Pues cambia el pensamiento. It is that. It's, lots of people think it's kind of like, oh, Katrina, it can't be that simple. That is the fallacy that so many people have actually embraced. Oh, it's so hard. That is a lie. That is the lie lie of all lies. You know, today, always expect more good. Always expect for blessings to come into your life. You know, I am going to be much older than what I was last year. Just a tad bit. Just a tad bit. You know, and I'm going to say this. Whatsoever anybody has desired for me, I send and I return back to thee. There have been, you know, the jealousy, the envy, the, you know, whatever it is. You know what? Because I make my life look easy. See, other people desire other people's, you know, life or whatever it is. I do not want to be no J-Lo. I don't want to be no Zendaya. I do not want to be no Alfreda. Oh, no. Oh, not just no, but hell no. Yes, they're all beautiful and powerful women in their own right. But guess who I want to be? Me. That's it. You know why? Because I am enough. And you have to remind yourself of that. Look in the mirror on a daily basis and remind yourself, I am enough. Somebody told me this morning, it's kind of like, oh, Katrina, you know, I thought you'd be with your Sancho. Le que Sancho ni que mi pata. I don't need no Sancho. You know, no. Now, it's like, no. You know why? I have too many other things to take care of. I have people to see, places to go, and, you know, wonderful things to do for me. Now, those of us that are in relationships, okay? You know, those of us that are in relationships, more power to us. More power to us. Relationships are wonderful. But the number one relationship that you are to have is with yourself. Because whenever you are not able to get out of bed, one of these days that's going to happen, the person that you have to, you know, sit with, live with, you know, and be with is who? Pues yourself. So you have to love you. And you know what? I love me. I love me with the good, the bad, and the ugly. And there are some things that are ugly. I mean, really. There really is. But I embrace it all. So let's go ahead and get into our wonderful Uplifting the Soul service. Now that I went ahead and got onto, what do they call that? Soapbox. A soapbox. Yes, that's it. That's it. Always expect more good. Why? Optimism is the faith that leads to achievement. Helen Keller. Let me say that once again. Optimism is the faith that leads to achievement. Optimism. If you're an optimist, if you say, "No, I can, I will, it is done," guess what? You get to move mountains.
Look who said that.
You know, it's kind of like, well, Helen Keller. Helen Keller says, you know, optimism is the faith that leads to achievement. Now, there's some conspiracy theories now because we have these people that are out there saying, oh, there is no such thing as Helen Keller. I'm like going, you know what? You need to really check yourself. Some other people are trying to say, oh, there was never the Holocaust. ¿Qué?
Yeah.
I'm like, really? It's kind of like, there is a sense of, let's go ahead and whitewash some stuff. And I'm going to say this. No. Give me the hard, honest truth. Do not try to take away the hard, honest truth about all the different things that have happened in this world, just so that we can, it's okay. I am an optimist in this way. Let us look at the truth so that it can set us free. See, whenever I was seeking the truth, even if it was ugly, I was set free in so many different ways. So today, Helen Keller was set free by her optimism. Her teacher was, fierce. Because she went ahead and she was telling her, it's like, no, and no, and no. What's our favorite word? No. You can say that to people. There are some people that don't ever say no. Guess what? You have to learn to say no. Even if people don't like you. It's okay. They have two jobs. Getting upset and then getting happy. Tienen dos trabajos. Enojarse y contentarse. Whenever Helen Keller would get upset, her wonderful teacher would say, no. And would get her to do it again. And then get her to do it again. And then by the time Helen Keller was the adult, she was able to do things on her own. That's what we have to be able to do. And I remember, as a child, my mother would tell me no, and I just would look at her like, how dare you? I'm your child. And she'd look at me like, I don't care if you're my child or not. You are not going to go and do X, Y, and Z. Sit your butt down. Now guess who's like that? I'm going to plead the fifth on that one. Expectancy speeds progress. When you expect people to be, truthful, honest, integrity, guess what you're going to get? But that means that you're also going to be held for those standards. Okay. Therefore, live in a continual state of expectancy. No matter how much good you are experiencing today, expect greater good tomorrow. Try this magic of expectancy, and you will soon discover a dramatic side to your work that gives full vent to constructive feelings. This is by Ernest Holmes, Creative Mind and Success. So I'm about to get into what the author of, this month's reflection is going to bless us with their wonderful words. And this is what it says. I love it when I learn something that can easily be applied and practiced. Holmes, quote, offers immediate practical application. Now, let's go ahead and go back to Jesus. Jesus went ahead and said to us what? You will do greater than I. And then he said this, peace be still. He didn't say, oh, peace be still. Ay, por favor, ah. He said it with authority. He commanded that. If you haven't seen the Odyssey, I'm going to invite you to go and see the Odyssey. And I want for you to see, what Penelope does. She looks at a certain person and says, boy, who the heck do you think has been running this place? And it was like, oh, honey. You have to take command and charge. Because if you do not, what ends up happening is that you end up actually hurting yourself. And so it continues here. Expectations are powerful mental attitudes. Does that mean everything we expect happens just the way we imagine? Of course not. But we are much more likely to experience a desired outcome if we expect that outcome to manifest. Expectations shape the direction and speed of our experience in life. When we expect something good to happen, our other thoughts, feelings, and actions tend to align with our expectations. Some say that even if we start out being uncertain about an outcome, that you have a little doubt, we can recite an affirmation that over time will develop into a relevant expectation. And of course, the same works in reverse. So I'm going to give you guys an example. One of the things that happened to me about 2 weeks ago, I was having, because of the rain, because of all these different things, I'm not sure but what ended up happening is that I was in a specific pain. And I'm going to tell you, I had to do some cleaning. I had to do some, getting things kind of together. And what ended up happening is that I had a little bit of pain, and I went ahead and I said, You have zero pain. None. Now get to work. Take care of it. Do it. Ándale. And that's what I heard in my mind. And I'm going to tell you, I kept going. You know, it's kind of like I kept going. Because I was like, nope. You can step. Your knees are flexible. Your ankles are moving forward. You know, and I was affirming. And then I was stating, it's kind of like, and whatsoever anybody has desired for me, 10,000-fold with love, I return to thee. I am going to accomplish that which I've set myself out to accomplish. And I don't care what it takes, but I'm going to get it done. And I'm going to say this. All the way from 6:15, maybe to about 9:30, worked. And then it was like I was able to actually relax on the next day. That was my compensation. I, went ahead and I finished what I had to do, and it felt fantastic. But I kept on, talking to myself and saying, I'm getting this done. Some say that even if we start out being uncertain about an outcome, and I'm reminding you of this, when we can recite that affirmation, of course, the same works in the reverse. When you start saying that you cannot, then what will happen? You won't. You will not. I don't care who, what, when, where, how. So this past week, I had to put certain things into the back of my truck. And I hadn't done this in quite a while, okay? So I went ahead and, I had been having all of these different issues. So, I get out there and a colleague of mine calls me and says, Katrina, do you need for me to help you? I said, no, I'll talk to you later. Boom. I hung up on him and everything else. And I finished, and I went ahead and tied everything up, and I got it done. So then I get into the truck, and I call the lady, and I said, I'm sorry I was a little short. Leah, I was just in the middle of taking care of things, I said, and I was just like, I wasn't going to wait. I said, I needed for it to get taken care of. I said, and I got it taken care of. I'm on my way. I said, now when I get there, you can help me unload. She goes, okay. And so whenever I arrive, she's just like, you did all of this by yourself? I said, yes. I said, in one string. I said, one string is taken care of. I said, all of this. She was like, oh my gosh, Katrina. But, I kept on telling myself, I can, I will, and it is done. In life, the author says, in her life, I seek to always expect the best. Always expect the best from your colleagues, from your coworkers, from your children, from your loved ones, from your spouse. Always expect the very best. Expectation is up here. And I'm going to say this. When you have a higher expectation, then people meet your expectation because they know. So I'm going to share this. One of the things that happens, and sometimes I will say for myself, I have been told, and this was over 20 years ago, they said to me, they being a particular person, said, I could never be your father, Katrina. And I looked at that person and I said, I'm not asking you to be my father. It was not my husband, by the way. Okay? But that person said to me, I could never be like your father. And I was like, I'm not asking you to be like my father. I'm asking you to be a man of honor, a man of integrity, a man of this, and a man. And he just plain Jane looked at me and goes, can't do it. I said, well then,
Well,
bye. But he was honest because he knew that my expectations were up here. So why should I bring my expectations down when that would be compromising, and yes, we all need to be able to work together. And there was some compromising that I had done. Done a lot of compromising. But I also needed for that person to meet me at least halfway. If you can't do that, then you know what? It's kind of like, it's okay. We can say goodbye.
you value
Exactly. Thank you so very much. The statement is, I value myself, my self-worth. I deserve the best. So I know that in other places, we want the collective, and we want to surround ourselves, and we want to be there for others. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword, because I, as a chaplain, whenever I go out, it's not about me. It's about my patients, where they're at, what they're doing. It's about my congregation, their needs, what they're doing, how they're doing it. And so you work at accommodating, and meet halfway, some way, somehow. But you have to put yourself in integrity. Surround yourself with those that are in integrity. What does integrity mean? Integrity is very simple. Integrity is going to be you do the right thing even when no one is looking. That is integrity. And that speaks volumes. That speaks volumes. I'm going to share something that I saw just the other day, and I'm going to finish before I go into that thought. Here it says, if ever it does not, when it happens like that, I am blessed, that I seek to always expect the best. If it does not, I simply know that whatever happened is the only thing that could have happened, and we move on. Disappointment is a waste of time and energy. But when you're disappointed, what ends up happening is that there's a realization. The realization is this: that was not the proper process upon which I was to accomplish what I was supposed to accomplish. I am going to look at it again, and if this is truly my path, I'm going to go ahead and take it. If it is not my path, show me so that I can take the next path. You always want to be alert and oriented to universe speaking to you. You're under divine timing and under divine order. In truth principles, you are always the master. You are, the master of your universe in many senses, because your every word, thought, and action is creating your next second, your next minute. You are conspiring. It's kind of like the universe conspires to make what you are desiring happen. There is, God's desire is my heart's desire, and my heart's desire is God's desire. There is no separation between myself and God, yourself and God. We are one. And you have to remember that. There is not a spot that God is not. And I have said this time and time again. We expect the very best for our lives today and always. We expect the very best. We expect the very best for our lives today and always. When we praise and appreciate those that are in our lives, those that are, doing certain things for us, or we appreciate ourselves. We appreciate that we're able to walk. We appreciate our body. We appreciate our minds. We appreciate whatever it is that we have around us. We appreciate. It's an attitude of gratitude. My heart is fixed, O God. My heart is fixed. I will sing and give praise. Awake up, my glory. That's Psalm 57:7-8. When we look at the psalmist, which is all the Psalms, and we read those Psalms, it was wisdom that was being given to us. We have Proverbs, and then we also have the book of wisdom. Go and do yourself a favor and read some of it. We were given the tools. And, there was something I wrote this down. Hold on. Jesus, hold on. Let me go to it. I need to find it because I wrote it down. You know, we say that Jesus says, I am the way, the truth, and the light. In reality, the invitation is for us to listen to it from a different perspective, that it said to us, let me show you the way, the truth, and the light. Because that's what Jesus did. He showed us the way, the truth, and the light via his life. Because what he did was he showed us how we could do what he did and even better. You know, we can actually convert, you know, the water into wine. We can actually, you know, do the things that he did. Peace, be still. But we have been brainwashed to think that we are not capable of such things. And that, my brothers and sisters, is where the lie is at. That's where the lie lies. We have been programmed to believe, oh, you're not good enough. You were born with this. The second that Jesus died on that cross is the second that we're no longer sinful. Now, let's go further and let's go outside the box. And we have to understand that God created us with knowledge, with wisdom. Use it. Odysseus, or the Odyssey, the other explanation is it's not about him trying to get home. It goes deeper. It's about finding who? Himself. In his 20-year journey, and all that he went through, and everything that happened, he learned about himself. The Odyssey isn't about getting to Ithaca. It has nothing to do with it. It has to do with the man, with us, because this movie gives us a new awareness about the self, where God is. Listen to the gap. And the gap is, and I said it last week, this is the second time that I talk about the gap. Shh. Be still and know that I am God. That's Psalm 46:10. And there's the gap right there. This is a thought and this is a thought. And in between is the gap. And in that gap, that's where God is. The Christ consciousness is in you. The Buddha mind is in you. In you, through you, as you. You know, we in the next few years, we're already in 2026. We're going into 2027. We're heading into a new horizon. But I'm going to tell you this. If we are so egotistically focused on our ego all the time, we're going to miss the mark. And missing the mark is the sin. That's what you call a sin. Miss the mark. We are evolving, ladies and gentlemen. We are evolving beyond. And it's not just a box. Beyond what we have been programmed. The matrix is here and now. And we're either getting, we're unplugging, and we're seeing the reality of life. Those that are ready. At Center for Practical Spirituality, we're evolving. And that's why we have to now understand that Jesus said, I can show you the way, the truth, and the light. So that you can pick up that torch for me. Because we were to continue. Jesus was not Christian whatsoever. What Jesus wanted to do was he wanted for us to embrace love. Unconditional love. And Joseph Murphy, Wayne Dyer, Dr. Ann Kunith, Dolores Cannon, Louise Hayes, the guy that Emmett Fox. But then there's another one, the gentleman that was oh my goodness, not just Fillmore, Moyer, Bill Moyer, and then the other gentleman that talked in reference to, oh, goodness gracious, I can't remember his name right now, but there are others that are just, in all reality, what they're doing is they showed us a different way of living and being. And we are to go beyond the limitations that have been put upon us. It is time to expand. It really is. It really is time to expand. So today's invitation of always expect more good. Always. If you're already receiving great, wonderful news and good things, keep on going. Because you are worthy of the very best. In the midst of the church will I sing praise unto thee. Where's the church? The church is everywhere. We are the church. You and I, we are the church. Where 2 or 3 are gathered in his name, there he is in our midst. And who is he if it's not love? If it's not, the truth? If it's not infinite intelligence, divine mind? We are co-creators with God. In reality, we are little gods walking around, creating in cosmic consciousness this world. And if we don't wake up now, because the beacons have already been, it's kind of like the signal has gone out. And this world is not going to be destroyed because of our stupidities. Instead, we are going to be expanding in our consciousness and in our awareness. I know that sometimes you guys are kind of like sitting there going like, what in the world is Katrina talking about? But I guarantee you that I'm not the only one that's saying this. I guarantee you that I'm not the only one that is really sharing with you. It is time to elevate. And those of you that are seeking the truth, speaking the truth, embracing the truth, you know that it is time to go beyond the limitations that we've been placed in. Open thy my lips, and my mouth shall chew forth thy praise. Psalm 51:15. Many times it is scary to talk about all of these things. But somebody has to do it. And I don't mind being that person. With that being said, thank you so very much for being here with us. We are going to continue to uplift you, to uphold you, to always expect more good for each and every one of us. I'd like for us to pray for those, those that have departed, those that have left this world, those that have expanded their consciousness. We embrace them, we surround them, we send them forth to their new life. Those of us that are still here in this earth plane, we infuse each and every one of us. I infuse each and every one of you with love, with light, with joy, with peace, with the truth and the peace that passes understanding. If we're still breathing in this, womb called the body, we still have a purpose. When our purpose here on this earth finishes, we will change form and we will go to our next life. We will go to our next life. Please remember that. So if you feel those that are your loved ones that are on the other side, if you feel them because they're right next to you, you are not alone. None of us are. And there are there is a vastness. So I'm going to recommend a movie real quick, and I know many people have probably seen this. It's a movie in reference to Jeremy Camp. It's called I Still Believe. And the reason that I'm referring this movie to all of you is because of the fact that his wife in the movie speaks in reference to the stars. Her faith. Oh, wow. So just know that there's a message for you if you're hearing this right now in that movie. And welcome to a new reality. So at this very moment, what I'd like to do is I'd like for us to hold our tithes and our offerings in our hands. Let me just go ahead and grab this over here. Wait, let me see if I can drag it. Okay, I got to drag it. Yay! So let us go ahead and hold our tithes and our offerings in our hands, and let us say together, divine love in me, as me, and through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. And so it is. Ladies and gentlemen, every weekend that I do this, it is an absolute honor and privilege. I love being able to preach and teach. I love being able to bring you, a different way of seeing Jesus, Buddha, Gandhi, and all our new metaphysical and new thought, and bringing it all together, because it's time for us to expand our consciousness and our awareness. You deserve the very best. And so today and tomorrow and next week and next year and forevermore, you are worthy of the very best. So at this very moment, what I'd like to do is, if you have any prayer requests, please put them in the thread, and just know that we're here for you. May the power of the Father, the love of the Son, and the freedom of the Holy Spirit be with you today and always. And so it is. I'm ready for a miracle. I'm ready for a miracle. I'm ready for a miracle today. I've got my mind in tune for one. I'm ready to experience one. I'm ready for a miracle today. My mind is open, ready to receive it. My heart is opened all the way. I do accept a miracle. I do accept a miracle. I do accept a miracle today. I do receive a miracle. I do receive a miracle. I do receive a miracle today. Very good. Very good. Yay! I love you guys. We'll see each other next week. Bye.